not, it's when you come here, you feel it. So it won't matter that he's Catholic.
Yeah.
Because it's not something that you think about, it's just something that you feel.
Yeah.
So I think the same thing for your parents. I don't know what faith your parents are.
They're nothing. I mean, they're communists. So, they always said, like, this, last month I went to China with my parents, and we had some family things, like, they have some family things going on.
Yeah,
It's, like, a lot of strife. So we have, like, family meeting, and I actually put the Buddha statue out for blessing. And they didn't.
I'm sorry, that's funny.
It is funny, because, well, here, like, at the temple and stuff, we always seek refuge in Buddha first, right? So then everything we acknowledge to emanate from Buddha's blessing, and I just wanted the Buddha blessing there to help our family.
How did they react when you put Buddha there?
They were actually okay with it, because they know I've been involved with Kadampa Buddhism for a long time, so they're, like, quite accepting, But I have to tell you, we went to China, which is a secular state, and then so my parents were good with me, like, putting up a little shrine in my room,
Yes.
But then they were like, when people come to visit, please put it away.
Exactly.
So people came to visit, so I'd, like, just hide them away. And then, and then, like, at one point, my dad was, like, arranging for me to talk to some of his colleagues, friends, because they wanted to think about how to come to overseas and, all that English and stuff. And then, but then my parents were, like, counseling me what to say, what not to say, because I think things, I don't know, from their generation, there's a lot of crafting going on,
Yes.
So definitely don't talk about meditation, definitely don't talk about religion, definitely don't, I'm like, oh my god, I don't even want to go, I don't know what else to say. But anyway.
And it worked out.
I didn't even go, because there was so much tension at the house. I just came back, because I got so stressed being there, I had nowhere to go.
I hear that. Well, I think as soon as your being is being told, being put in a straitjacket, verbally already being told to be put in a straitjacket, your being starts to shut down. And I think that's the amazing thing about the center, is that your being starts to expand, open and blossom and flower. And so you feel like a kid. You feel free and playful, and just things just naturally happen. And I think that's why you can be here and all of a sudden you loosen up, is because the fear leaves, because there's this openness and this playfulness and this spontaneity that you don't have to watch your thoughts, your feelings, your whatever. You can just be.
Yeah, it's that spaciousness, you can just be, and then you know nobody's judging you, know, and I mean, everywhere has got their, like, general guidelines, like we have the guidelines, okay, okay, this is vegetarian place, so please don't bring, like, steaks.
This is true. Like, this is true. Like, oh, no alcohol or drugs.
Yeah, you know, it's like, but it's, like, done in such, like, a gentle way, and then just the energy of the people here is very gentle and very just forgiving and accepting, that you feel like nobody's, like, watching over your shoulder and, with the whip, be down on you and don't do this, don't do that,
no,
don't do this.
It's interesting you say that, because Diane was saying that too, that the center doesn't actually have, like, the crack of dawn prayers, know, because other centers have, you're up at 4:30, and I, in my guru's ashram in India, actually, that's what I do. I'll get up at 4:30, start taking a shower, and it's a bucket bath, by the way, and it's cold water.
Wow.
It's not even hot water.
That is
it is. It's very intense. It is hardcore. And then the prayers, the chanting of the Divine Mother's name, the 1,008 names of the Divine Mother, it starts at about 5:30, 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
And so you're there fairly early. And the thing about the center, there's no structure like that. It's just open. You come, and there's no early morning thingies. I think the earliest is, like, I don't know, 7:30.
Yeah, exactly.
Which,
it's voluntary. You can go if you want,
right.
and I mean the 7:30. It's actually like a prayer for the highest yoga tantra, which is like, they would, like, actually would prefer if somebody got, like, an empowerment with the tantra tradition, because then you do all this, like, tantra related self-generation, all this business, but anyway, like, the prayer that everybody can go to, that's just prayer for sort of Dharma protection, for personal wishes fulfilled. The wish fulfilling jewel is often in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm. What time is that?
I think it's like 5 o'clock, I believe, here. And depending on which center someone goes to, you look up the schedule to see like what time it is in that center.
Yeah.
But here you can look up. There's a schedule out here too.
Oh yes, that's right.
Yeah. So let me see it. Okay, I have time, because I think I told somebody I was going to call them at 11, so I just want to make sure it's like, intermission time.
I know, exactly. When are your parents planning on visiting?
Well, they are still in China. I just, fled back because I couldn't handle all that negativity. Just, some family things, and also, I didn't have anywhere to go, aside from home, because I don't live there. So
yeah.
I haven't been back in 10 years. And, we have a nice place, in Shanghai.
Wow.
My parents have a house in Shanghai, and it's in a nice location.
Wow.
But I tell you, it's once, since I've been with Kadampa doing meditation, all this for a while now, a little bit super sensitive to noise, so I couldn't do meditation too well at the house. I have to use a lot of earplugs, which is fine, but it's basically this running drone of noise, constant. And
it's a city.
It's a city, and I felt stressed a lot. And then even though I didn't have a job, I didn't have anything, I was just visiting for a month, so the original trip was 6 months, but I came back in 3 weeks.
Oh no!
I cannot handle this. I'm gonna get depressed here. Everything my parents not getting. I'm mediating, but it's not working, and I'm turning back to when I'm 12 and feeling really demoralized. I got to go home.
It's hard. It's hard to go back in the box after you've lived outside of the box. It's hard to go back, and it's like when you know what. I've been a vegetarian since '97, but I'll say this: if you've had steak, it's hard to have McDonald's.
Yeah,
right. No offense to the house in Shanghai, I'm sure it's fancy and beautiful, but in terms of the feeling of your spirit where it's free, that would be a porterhouse steak. And then going back to the home. The childhood home is McDonald's. Don't know what they put in that meat, but it's really popular, but it's not working. It's not working for leashing anymore.
No,
it's like
you can get a beast really quickly.
I can understand that.
Yeah, and actually, I feel so lucky that I'm involved with Kadampa, and I've had a chance to visit all these different places and really soak in Buddha's blessing and energy, because even in my darkest, most difficult times, with my parents and I always felt like it's no problem, it's temporary, because this is kind of not my real home, because I identify residence with Kadampa as my real home, because I just feel always I'm sheltered, and I feel like it's always a good experience. Sometimes, you go to a different center, they got their thing, and people have personalities, whatever, but by far, it's so much easier than outside, you know?
Yes.
So, and I think there's real good, just particularly good energy with this place, the New York, New York temple, because I hear a lot about, the special qualities of the resident teacher, Gen Samten. I don't know him too well, because I've, only heard 1 or 2 teachings, and then because I haven't been in this center that long, you know, but I hear he's just a really, 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 really wonderful, holy kind of person, and I think when there's someone like that, they tell me he's a lot like Geshe-la, who's the main teacher, that energy, because he's been a monk for I think almost 30 years since he was late teens. So he's a long time disciple. Yeah. And, really direct contact with Geshe-la and what have you. So I think this place has a lot of his energy too. Yes,
always.
The resident teacher sets the tone.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And then people around it emulate the energy.
Well, and I think like attracts like.
Yeah, exactly.
So then, the people that are in that energy vibration will resonate, and it'll just bring it out even more, which makes sense, which totally makes sense. Yeah. And I know that explains why the temple feels that way. Yeah. It's really all the prayers and the energy of the people that have brought it in there, Yeah. And like I said, my experience of it is it's your mother's womb. And it's interesting because all the teachers, for the most part, I think are men. Yeah. But, the teachings itself is, my guru is female. Yeah. But the teaching itself is really about feeling that sense of safety and wholeness. And
Yeah.
ideally, mothers give you that.
Yeah,
That feeling
exactly.
of wholeness and being loved and being okay.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. You go into the temple and you come here and you feel okay. You just feel really, really okay.
Yeah, you feel well taken care
You
of.
do.
Well looked after,
you do. You don't have to worry about so many things in your head.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with you on that.
Yeah, actually, in this tradition, the Kadampa tradition, the international director, like the spiritual director, who's like, well, I mean, our main guru is Geshe-la, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's like in his 80s, so he's not giving regular teachings
Mm-hmm.
or regular like day-to-day management
Mm-hmm.
but the one that is like the head of the spiritual is a woman,
Oh.
and then her the deputy international spiritual director is also a woman.
Oh.
And I think Geshe-la is very wise that he, because it's elected, I think it's chosen and all that, to be able to be in sync with the contemporaneous movements of society and the social movements. That,
True.
We don't want people to just think, or we don't want ourselves just to think, only men can be leaders. I mean, not that we're trying to even set up that dialogue, but really, actually, in our tradition, in Buddhism, we're taught, like, some of the even earliest meditation with the 21 meditation stages of the path is to understand, actually, all living beings have been our mothers. Because of reincarnations and all that. So we're just taking on this gender identity because that's how human beings are. Like, there's a male and female. But really, the Buddha energy is beyond all that. It is.
It is.
And in this tradition, you could be a woman and rise really high to leadership. And
I can see that. Well, I think there's definitely the whole. It's an unfortunate thing, but the feminine has definitely taken a negative connotation, unfortunately, for quite a while. And I think one of the things that's happening, or that in order to be strong, you have to be masculine.
Yeah.
There's that narrative, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that the reality is, they call it Mother Nature, and it's the most powerful thing out there.
Yeah.
And actually, being a woman is, this is something that everybody talks about already, There's nothing like bringing life in your own body. And it's interesting that although people are aware of that, that there's still the narrative that being feminine is weaker.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a weaker context.
Yeah.
But be that as it may, I think, the thing about the Buddha teachings is, like you're saying, is that it is about, it's not the gender, it's just you feeling that wholeness. And also it's beautiful that you say that. Every single being has been our mother. And even now, I mean, everything that feeds us and cares for us is a mother to us.
Yeah. And what is mother? It's just a way of saying it's a nurturing energy, right? It's an energy that sustains life, And if we had identified it with father, then we could have said it's father energy. It's like in our tradition, we talk a lot about things being as mere imputation by name, meaning like, like sentient beings oftentimes get stuck because they're so stuck on specific vocabulary and words, and then when you hear something that sounds different, it's like, oh my God, your world is shaking, you're falling apart. But we're taught to actually have a sense of ease about all this naming, meditation, language, and conceptually constructed ideas.
Absolutely.
Because that is just
absolutely.
That's construed
secondary
in relation to the norms of that time, but then the norms are changing all the time, so we have to learn to have that spaciousness to allow movements through,
Very true. And it's interesting because when you're saying that, what I hear when you say that is what my guru was accused of for 30 years ago, because she's female. And she was hugging people in India.
Is this like hugging, saying?
Yes.
Oh, I know. She gave me a big hug.
Oh, yes.
Emma, she's great.
Oh, she's awesome.
She's like giving 1 million hugs or something.
Oh, yes, like crazy amount.
Yeah.
And when she was younger in India, they said, this is really very bad. You're touching male people, the male species.
Yeah.
And,
sure. Hey.
I'm hearing some cackling, and I thought it was in here.
Come on.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
I was looking for Denise.
Oh, I haven't seen her.
No, she's here. I hear her voice.
Yeah.
Oh, you do? I'm trying to locate the voice. That's cute.
Yeah, maybe she's upstairs.
I was just up there and I didn't hear her. I hear her down here.
Oh,
that's
wow.
funny. And you know what she said? And they were stoning her. They were throwing all kinds of stuff at her because they said, they said that's wrong for you to touch the male species because it's very traditional in India.
Yeah.
And so she said, well, if you tell me I shouldn't hug the males, she says, how do I not hug a female if that female has more male energy?
Yeah, exactly.
Or even if I hug this male, but that male actually has more female energy. So where then do you draw the line?
Yeah.
And you know, and that basically ended the argument because
exactly.
it's resonating with what you're saying, which is it's a label.
It's just a label, and we got to, you know, if we want to have this kind of Pure Land experience of space in our life, you know, not just in the location of a temple, but hopefully the point is that you come to temple to get this experience, so when you go back to where you normally stay, you can sustain that and then be a light that emanates that for people, and then they start doing the same. But for us to be able to do that, we have to relax these definitions, you know, and we have to just cultivate the heart energy, where our Geshe-la and Buddhas have taught that our true mind is in the heart. It's not all this mumbo jumbo computer stuff in the brain, you know, that is like getting us to function. Slice and dice, and divide, measure, conquer, and let me turn off my alarm. Okay. Yeah. So it's not all this division, you know, but it, like, I think healing is really about coming together and being whole, and having space to allow other people to be whole, and and you realize, like, you can have, like, what seems to be, you know, what I think a lot of people might even consider kind of like difficult guidelines, like, because people outside so much do the, you know, the drinking, the alcohol things, and the many things that, say, in a temple like this you don't do, right? Because I think a lot of times when people want to go for fun time party, it's like a lot of this, like, bit rambunctious energy coming out, because there's this certain kind of adrenaline rush associated with the conventional way of thinking happy. But you could see, like, how in a place like that, when you don't have this, it actually gets you to just be in a more heightened state of awareness, like more sensitivity and more, you know, a little more, just.
I think I agree with you. I think that the whole idea is that, look, that's kind of boring.
Yeah.
You know, there's no after hours. Yeah. There's no midnight buffet like you do on a cruise ship, right? And there's no, like, rock climbing. And then, wait a minute. And there's no disco night. I just that might be a problem. And I think, though, that the whole idea of all those activities is to bring to free your spirit. Yeah. To feel that sense of playfulness, to feel that sense of joy. It really is the joy. And what I think a place like Kadampa Center does is that on the surface it doesn't have all of those, because we've been taught that you need all of those to experience the joy and the playfulness and the fun. And the interesting thing is that it's actually inherently in us without the external activity. And the thing that can be found out there pretty easily for buckets of money, or, you know, locally, is that it's externally driven. And I think when you come to Kadampa Center, you know, and you take that breath, I mean, just even taking the breath, you get this appreciation for that there's that joy already inherent in me. There's that fun already inherent in me. And there's just, you know, this, when people drink alcohol and have fun because they feel uninhibited. In here, you feel that sense of uninhibitedness without having to dance on the table and be drunk. You just you feel a sense of that high and that drunkenness in terms of the freedom and the fears drop. I think the alcohol is there for the most part to numb the mind out of its machinery running, you know. Gotta get the job, gotta do the interview, gotta do the, you know, make the grade, do the quota, do the whatever, finish the deadline. And so the alcohol is there to kind of take off the edge from that, you know. Oh, I gotta do, my 401k is not doing well. And then you come to a place like this, and that somehow, without any kind of alcohol,
it's gone.
It drops. It just goes away. So you could say the center is like alcohol, I mean, for lack of a better word, because it takes it out. It takes it out completely, and you don't even know, oh, there it left. Oh, I didn't even have to buy alcohol. I didn't even have to drink it. I didn't have to throw up the next morning.
Exactly.
There's no hangover.
Side effects.
There's no side effects.
Perpetually good.
Exactly.
You didn't have to spend any money
No,
on that.
there isn't. There isn't. And I don't have to detox my body afterwards. I mean, it's
Yeah.
getting mentally detoxed, for lack of a better word.
It's true. And I think like I'm really this Kadampa has changed me so much, and I really I cannot tell you like how much, because in a lot of ways, I mean, I had a life where, you know, I had a lot of private space. You know, I was living in Florida, and you know, I had kind of a contract job. I was not very busy. I wasn't into the 401. I wasn't like, I just didn't care very much, but I had enough to live, you know. But also it was in some way a little bit like I'm not, I don't think the word is lonely, but a little bit isolated, in the sense I didn't have other people who were a lot